Hey guys, okay, so today we're doing something very exciting. We're at a grocery store, and I'm going to be doing some live bulk zero waste shopping. I know I talked about in another video how the bulk shopping experience can really range at different stores. Here in Northern California, we're very lucky to have a lot of independent grocery stores and sort of like hippie co-op situations where they have a large bulk section and they really accommodate people who are trying to shop zero waste. But I know that's not the case everywhere, and I know that not everyone has interest or access to those stores. So I came to Safeway today, which is a nationwide store. I looked it up. I think they're in like 20 states, which is pretty good. And I know they're like your typical big box grocery store. So I think you could probably find something like this in your town or close by. Anyway, but also for people watching that live near me, you can come to a Safeway. So I haven't done any bulk shopping at Safeway yet. I've been sticking to my other stores where I know that it's socially acceptable to bulk shop. So I'm a little nervous how it's gonna go. I know that they do have a bulk section, but I don't know for sure how it's gonna go asking to fill up my own jars and bags. Okay, so first off, let's talk about what I bring with me when I go zero waste bulk shopping. So obviously you've got your big grocery bag that you're gonna carry everything home in. But I've got my zero waste bulk bags in here, some that I made, some that I've purchased, and these are going to be for produce, so I don't have to take produce bags, but also these are what I'm going to use at the bulk bins. Okay, so for rice, pasta, oats, snacks like nuts and pretzels and dried fruit and stuff, any of those things can go in here. And yeah, so I've got a whole big bag of those that I bring every time I go, varying sizes. And then, because I'm not sure what to expect in terms of being able to fill up my own jars, I only brought one today. Normally when I go to other stores like Berkeley Bowl or Rainbow Grocery in San Francisco, or even Sprouts has a really incredible bulk section. I normally bring a real range of jars and glasswares that I can fill up because I know that they'll tear them for me, or I tear them myself, and then they'll calculate how much to take off. I've never tried that at Safeway, so I only brought one today because, to be honest, I'm expecting it's going to be a little difficult, but we'll see. I guess if I go in with low expectations, then it can only go well, or it could still go horribly. We'll see. Okay, so I brought that one to fill up with like some oats or something. And then I brought this because really what I want to experiment with is bulk shopping at the deli counter. So I'm hoping that they will let me fill this up with some cheese or something, because when you go to the deli counter and you're getting your like sliced meat or sliced cheese or any like deli salad even, maybe they technically, I think they should be able to weigh this and then fill it up and then tell you how much is in there instead of filling up like a plastic bag or something. So we'll see. I'm hoping that works. All right, so that's pretty much all I have. And then also a phone, because I like to, when I fill up bags with something, I just, in my phone, I have a list going and I write like cereal and then the bin number, chocolate chips, the bin number. And then when I go to the checkout, I just tell them what bin number it is and they'll punch it in, and that's pretty easy. And that way I don't have to take a little twist tie, I don't have to take a sticker or anything like that. And you know, zero waste. What else am I expecting? I'm also expecting that the selection is going to be a lot smaller than let's say Berkeley Bowl or Rainbow Grocery, who are really like making bulk shopping their thing. I'm expecting, because I have peeked at the bulk section in Safeway before, and I'm expecting that the selection is just going to be a lot smaller and not as exciting. But I guess we'll see for sure. I'm also expecting that it's gonna be a little more expensive, which is kind of backwards to me because Safeway is a more accessible grocery store to begin with. But I find that when places have smaller bulk sections, the prices are higher because it's like they have really random specific things, and they're mostly always organic, and the prices are really high. So I'm expecting that, but I guess we will see for ourselves. Okay, great. Let's go. What did we learn? We learned that it's really difficult to shop bulk at Safeway. If that's your only bulk shopping option, that's gonna be tricky. Although they were very nice about it. I think it was generally just that they'd never been asked to do this before. They were just kind of super confused at first about what I was even asking, and like trying to get the tear on my jars before filling them was, they kept talking about they needed the deli manager and she wasn't there that day. And ultimately, luckily one of my jars already had the tear on it, and they just trusted me with how much that was. And so they let me fill it up with they had a whole olive bar, like olives and like marinated artichoke hearts and garlic and stuff. So I was able to, because I had the tear on this jar already, so I was able to just fill this up, and then they finally figured out how to take the tear off and filled up my jar for me. So that was cool. What else? So trying to get the cheese was very tricky. They hadn't figured out yet how to change the tear on the machine, so we compromised with him, and he put like one of those very thin plastic sheets on top of the scale and filled up the cheese, weighed that, and then put it into printed out a sticker, and then put it into my Tupperware. It was later that they figured out how to change the tear on the machine, so I think if I went back, they would be able to put it in my Tupperware without using that thin plastic sheet, because once he got it talking to another woman at the deli, he kind of figured out how to do it. So I had to use one of those little plastic sheets, but they're very thin, and you know, it's all in the name of science. So what else cool did we find though at Safeway? The bread situation's pretty good because they do actually have a lot of bulk rolls, and they're just out there for you to grab. Normally there's like little paper bags that you can put your rolls in, and but I just put a couple rolls in my mesh bag, and then the woman at the counter just counted how many rolls I had. So that was great. So zero waste bread, that's pretty cool. They had a big selection too of different types of rolls and bagels and donuts even. So then in the bulk section, as you saw, the selection was pretty big, but not very good. They had like half an aisle filled with like really random teas that nobody wants, like so many fruity tropical teas. That's kind of weird. They had beans and grains and pretty good selection of dried goods. Overall, I don't think I would do most of my bulk shopping at Safeway because I didn't love their selection. The prices were kind of high, and you know, it felt like a lot of work. There were highs and lows to this shopping experience, but what I'll remind you of is that this is really not about like going zero waste. I know I keep saying zero waste, but that's because that's kind of like the buzzword of this movement, and that's what people latch onto. But for me, it's like I have been attempting this project for about 3 months now, and in no way can I call myself zero waste. Like it's a really dramatic life switch to make. But you can just attempt to create less waste in any way possible throughout your daily life. So if that means buying your spinach in a bag instead of a plastic bag, that's one less plastic bag that you used. Or, you know, your broccoli without a ties, or your cashews in a cloth bag instead of a plastic bag. You know, like I think instead of thinking of things as failures, like instead of me focusing on that plastic sheet that he had to use for the cheese, I'll just focus on that he didn't have to put it in a plastic bag. You know, I think that's just there's a more healthy way to look at this and make you feel better, because this is a big task to take on, and it's not going to be successful if you focus on the ways that you fail. Right? So when I'm going into a shopping trip, I just try to go into it with the goal of how many ways can I reduce my waste in this one trip? How many little things can I cut out that I would have normally bought without a thought? You know, like I always used to buy salad greens in bags all the time because I just wasn't thinking about how that just doesn't need a bag. You know, there's just so many extra bits and pieces of plastic and packaging that we have become accustomed to buying that you realize are not really necessary. So, you know, next time you're going into your shopping, just look around your local shop, your local store, and how many ways can you find things in that store with less packaging? So I think the moral of this story is that zero waste bulk shopping is hard. It takes more effort. I used to be a person that went to Trader Joe's and did all my shopping pretty much for the week. And then with the exception here and there, I would go to a market or a farmer's market for some vegetables. But for the most part, all my pantry, refrigerator staples were coming from one shop to make it easy on myself.
Yeah, that's good.
So I would say put into it how much time you have to give. If you don't have time to be going to like 4 different grocery stores in 1 week because that's where they have all the different bulk items that you need, then maybe choose 2 and do the best that you can. If there's a couple things that you still have to buy in packaging, that's fine. You're not going to change overnight. I would say just like try to buy the most sustainable packaging. Paper is probably best. Or find yourself recycling centers for plastic bags, because that's another thing that exists. Find yourself other uses for the bags. Don't just immediately throw them away, because plastic is forever. If you can make a zero waste choice a couple times throughout your week and tell people about it, because that's the thing, is most people have no idea that this is kind of like a movement that's growing and that people are attempting this lifestyle. So the more people you talk about it, they're like, oh yeah, that makes sense. Oh, well, I could try to do that. Oh, cool. Ugh, let's go home. I needed to open the window or something. It's so hot.